Hi, and welcome everybody. It's Monday, October the 31st. It's another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast, and it's Halloween. And as like every Monday, I am joined by Mr. Doug Upstone of DocSports.com. Happy Halloween, buddy.
Same to you, Ross. No, this is not a costume. It's actually a nice day here. So wear the short sleeve shirts again. So that's all good. And speaking of Halloween, people might have seen this on Twitter. I thought it was great. Okay. In fact, in the article, the weekly art or the 3 times a week column or article I'd write for a bookmaker review, I put it in there. And what it was a kid. So I have to visualize this, but a kid dressed up like an umpire. Okay. Probably like a 10-year-old kid or something like that. And what he has like a stick that he's holding because he can't, in this case, he's not supposed to be able to see. Okay. So, so they show so then they flip it around to the shirt and it says Hernandez, the umpire in Major League Baseball that everybody hates.
Yeah. Somehow he keeps getting those assignments, Doug,
So I thought that was good. Of the different ones I saw, I thought that was certainly as good as any I saw.
Yeah. And for those of you who aren't baseball fans, Angel Hernandez is notoriously amongst the players one of the least favorite umpires in baseball. And we all know why to follow the sport, because he makes more calls that are head scratching than any umpire that I remember in my lifetime. Yet he keeps getting assigned to these big games. I don't know if he's assigned to the World Series. I haven't followed the rotation, but I think he was in the postseason again this year, wasn't he?
I don't know, but it is amazing. Yeah. And the thing about it is that not only is he bad in balls and strikes, okay, he's bad at all the bases.
Oh yeah, he's especially atrocious on the bases.
Yeah. So it's and speaking of that though too, there's the umpire. What was his name? Holberg. Yes, he got a Holberg. I forget his first name. He got a perfect score for Game 2 behind the plate.
Oh, good for him.
That's a rarity.
That's real, and that's tough. At the major league level right now, there's a lot of pressure on these guys. It's not like the old days where you could say, well, he's a pitcher's umpire or he's a hitter's umpire. That's, I don't know if it's non-existent anymore, but it's certainly doesn't take place as much, that label of either one, pitcher or hitter's umpire, just because they're getting monitored in the strike zone. And if they have a bad day, they hear about it. It's not, well, before they used to get away with it because it was really difficult to monitor from Major League Baseball standpoint. Of course, fans have their own different opinions, but anyway, yeah, Angel Hernandez, that's a very good one. It's very applicable because I think a lot of people would agree with his vision is off or his perspective is askew. One of the two.
And arrogant for no reason also, by the way.
Yeah.
When you stink at your job and then you're still defiant. I shouldn't say that because anybody's watching this has worked. Any place you've worked that pretty much has more than 5 people, there's always one of those guys that is like that. He's no good at his job. He always complains he doesn't have any money. And everybody knows, well, if you work harder, maybe you'll have more money or if you get better at your job. That's right. Anyway, so enough about that. Hey, what about that Tennessee Georgia game this week, huh?
Georgia, an 8.5-point favorite there. That's got to be the most hyped game of the year to date. Tennessee looks so good right now. And Georgia, I still think Georgia's got a lot left in the tank. I admire the fact that they haven't suffered much from a national championship hangover. Tennessee, obviously, Hooker, the quarterback from Tennessee, does not look like the same guy that was at Virginia Tech at one time.
Not even close.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts there, Doug, in terms of that?
I guess you got 5 points for Georgia at home. Okay. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And so is Georgia really 3.5 points better than Tennessee? I'm not saying they're not.
Yeah.
But I do wonder about it.
Yeah.
I mean, because the Tennessee defense seems to be getting better. Okay. Now, I mean, Kentucky wasn't a great, one to use it as an example, but I mean, Georgia's offense is not as dynamic as Alabama's, so it's somewhere in between and to the higher side. It's an interesting number. It's probably right,
Yeah.
okay, and trying to determine what's going to be the right side takes some work. And by the way, I like the expression "hooker for Heisman." I like that. He's now the favorite, by the way, and he's the betting favorite. So
I'm waiting for a follow-up statement to that from you.
I think I just set it up just by saying that.
I'm disappointed, Doug. I thought you had a follow-up to that.
No, I'm just throwing it out there. I'll let anybody take it however they want, And so,
by the way, we do have 2 college football free picks for you. Thank you for patiently waiting in that regard. But, again, folks, just a quick explanation here. This is a sports betting show, and we give out free picks at the end of each podcast. I know some people get frustrated because they're used to going to sites that just give out free picks and get it done in 2-3 minutes. There's plenty of them out there. But, I would venture to say the cast of handicappers we have here on the Winner's Circle podcast measures up to anybody in the country right now. There are some that are just as good, but not much that are better. I can tell you that. And we are 20-10 over the last 3 weeks with our free picks on this channel. We give out, I do 5 podcasts per week, 2 free picks per podcast, including mine and the guest handicapper, Doug, who's on twice a week. And so we're doing awfully well with those free picks. I'm 10-5 with those picks. The rest of the guys are 10-5. That's consistent winning. That's 66.7%. Shouldn't be any complaints out there in terms of what we do here. But a friendly reminder, folks, you see how well we're doing here. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. If you've been coming aboard and you're giving us nice compliments, which we appreciate, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, easily done by hovering over the OSGA icon on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen there, and you'll see a subscribe button come up. Click subscribe and then go and into your notifications and hit the alert spell there, and you'll be alerted immediately upon any of our Winner's Circle sports betting podcast going up on this channel. Also, don't forget, give us a like at the end of the video. We would deeply appreciate that. So let's get to our free picks, Doug. We're going to start with you in interesting game, and I'm really interested to hear your take on this game. The Texas Longhorns at the Kansas State Wildcats. Boy, oh boy, Kansas State. After blowing a 28-10 lead at TCU the week before, they came out and just destroyed Oklahoma State last week. Raise your hand if you thought if you predicted Kansas State was going to shut out Oklahoma State. I'll put it down because you're a damn liar. Anyway, Doug, take it away, man.
Yeah. Kansas State, I mean, it seemed like the perfect storm is what it really seemed like. I mean, to win 48-0, Mike Gundy's worst defeat ever as a head coach. It was the perfect storm, the perfect game, because Oklahoma State is a noted road team. Okay,
yeah.
So I mean that was a surprise, but obviously that win against Texas took a lot out of them. And then the other aspect of that the preparation that Chris Kleiman had for that game was just ideal. I mean, studying of the tape on Oklahoma State, they had it down cold. Their execution was ruthless, and it was a film study about how to prepare for an opponent. Okay, I thought it was brilliant.
If I could interject for a second, Doug, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this. I've continued to say over the last couple of years, I think he's one of the most underrated head coaches in the country. And he continues to get it done at Kansas State and they don't wow you. They're not your atypical Big 12 spread offense, throw it all over the map kind of team. They do it. They grind games out. They play solid defense, and more of a ball control offense as compared to the rest of the teams in the Big 12. Are you as high on him as I am, as you are?
In this standpoint, I mean, to me, he's basically Bill Snyder. I guess it'd have to be 3.0 because Bill Snyder was there twice.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think he has embraced the exact culture that was in place, didn't try to create something different, just try to add his own flavor. And so I agree, though, that, I mean, there's nothing about it that they wow you other than their execution. I mean, yeah, they're 11th in the country rushing the ball. So, that's certainly of note. But the one thing that, and there was during the game, they talked about it. Skylar Howard, the quarterback, he said, I could have played at a lot of places. He goes, but I like it here.
Yeah,
goes,
it's Will culture. Howard and
Skylar. Will Howard, sorry.
Yeah, because Skylar
the other guy.
That's Howard. Right. Go ahead.
No, so I mean, so that's the thing. And to borrow a phrase that you'll hear on college basketball, which by the way starts next Monday, is that it's a connected team. And that seems to be the case and part of the secret sauce to why they're as good and playing as well, as they are. So so I really like what they have to offer. Now, obviously they're going to be home again at the Little Apple, and they have an excellent chance, especially with a victory, of making the Big 12 championship. But Texas could also with a victory. I mean, Texas, I think they're improving under Steve Sarkisian. I think they're getting better football players, more so than athletes. I brought that up before. So I think that's a big plus. I mean, the offense is super solid. I mean, 22nd in the country nationally in scoring. They average 5.2 yards per carry with Bijan Robinson. Pass offense is good at 8.4 yards per attempt. Defensively, they're holding teams 11.8 below their average and 58 points per game. So, I mean, there's plenty to like here, just about this one. Now, this game is going to be on FS1 at 7 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, 7 o'clock. Texas, as we speak, is presently a 2.5-point favorite. The Horns have only played two true away games this year, and they were favored in both at Texas Tech, at Oklahoma State. What did they do, Ross? They lost. Okay. I remain of the opinion that Texas football program has talent, but doesn't always play well as a team, which is the exact opposite of Kansas State, which I just brought up. Yeah. Less talent, but they play well together. At home against Texas, the Wildcats are 6-3 straight up and 7-2 against the spread. Besides the home field advantage for Kansas State, they're also, I thought this was very interesting. I mentioned about them playing a perfect game. They're 12-2 after they played a game in which they had no turnovers. And then when they're facing a team that forces only one or fewer turnovers a game, they are a perfect 8-0. Ross, I might take this on a money line later in the week, but right now I have no problem taking Kansas State plus the 2.5 over Texas.
Nice. Kansas State plus the 2.5 over Texas. And some really good analogies there. Yeah, I mean, Texas notoriously over the last few years, Doug, they have all the talent in the world. They perennially have top 10 recruiting classes. Yet they just can't get it done in terms of being relevant on a national scale. And I do think this is a very good 3-loss team for Texas. But I also agree with Doug that Kansas State, to me, and nothing against Sarkisian because he's early in the process still at Texas. You got to give him time. I think eventually Texas will be in the national limelight if he stays there and continues to recruit his players, his style of players, which he's had to inherit some players to this point. Pretty soon, within a year or two, is going to have everybody on that roster is going to be recruited by him. Then we can get a better indication if Sarkisian is getting the job done at Texas or not. Kansas State, on the other hand, we were talking off air. I mean, and we were talking on air here too. You heard Doug say the current head coach, didn't change a heck of a lot for what Bill Snyder was doing and the style and the culture and all that. So, your reasoning is sound, and he likes Kansas State plus the 2.5 against Texas. And who blames him? Because that guy wins a lot of times, a lot more than he loses. Let me tell you that, folks. Anyway, the Alabama Crimson Tide will go to Baton Rouge on a Saturday night in Baton Rouge, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN. What more could you ask for? Nationally televised game in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night, and hosting SEC and national parental power Alabama. Now, here's the thing to me. Brian Kelly's a new head coach over at LSU, and I think he's doing a fine job. I mean, they got off to that tough loss against Florida State in the opener. They rebounded very well from that. They've been competitive all year, and I think they're standing at 6-2 right now. I don't have the record. Doug, do you know that off the top of your head?
That is correct. Yes.
6-2, correct.
Yep.
All right. So, but here's the thing, Doug, Brian Kelly, when he was at Notre Dame, he faced Alabama twice, and both times didn't fare very well. I mean, I don't know. Some people might think this is a poor thing to bring up when you're handicapping this game, but I don't, because it's the type of athletes that Brian Kelly recruited at Notre Dame, as opposed to the athletes that Alabama get on an annual basis. And it's just hard for his type of teams to compete. Now, this isn't that situation, because Brian Kelly has inherited what he has right now, and he's very little is being used right now in terms of his recruits that he had a short time to do. And most of it is the transfers he's brought in has made an impact. But having said that, those two meetings against Alabama, 42-14 loss in the BCS title game. Remember that? The BCS title game back in 2013, and then 2021 in the college football playoff semifinal. They were beaten 31-14, and quite frankly, if you watch that game, the score is not indicative of how lopsided it was. Both times, Alabama physically and athletically dominant against those Notre Dame teams. But again, we're talking about LSU right now, and Alabama 11-1 straight up and 10-2 against the spread in their last 12 as a conference away favorite, of 18 or less. And if they're coming off a bye week, which they are going into this game, that number improves to 4-0 straight up and against the spread. Alabama's also won 10 of their last 11 versus LSU. Their only loss in that sequence came against that 2019 LSU team that went 15-0, won a national championship, and featured the likes of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson, three pretty good players in the NFL right now, I must say, and in addition to many others that are playing on Sundays right now. A common opponent, which I like to look at sometime, Doug, they both played Tennessee. LSU just got blown out at home against Tennessee, 40-14, while Alabama suffered their only loss of the year to the Volunteers. But that game was played in Knoxville, 108,000 strong, packed that stadium. In Alabama, they lose the game 52-49. And I know it was a last-second field goal, and if I'm not mistaken, it was 50-plus yards, too. So, I mean, right there, the common opponent and how they did against that common opponent certainly favors Alabama. I just think Alabama, like the old saying in the movie Stripes, the character Francis, I finally get to kill somebody. And I think that's going to occur here. I'm going to take Alabama here minus the 13 over LSU. And Doug likes Kansas State plus the 2.5 at home against Texas. Doug, tell the folks where they could find you, what you may have coming up this week. I know you do all sports, NBA, NHL, college basketball coming up, and college football, the NFL. Busy time of year for both of us, but fill the folks in, Doug.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm happy to report that even though I was off on my bonus play last Thursday, still 4-1 on the show here.
Yeah.
Last four shows, so that's good to report. And so the football wasn't great over the weekend. College was okay. Pros not so hot, so that was disappointing. But you know what it is, Ross, and this is how it goes, at least my way of thinking. One of the axioms of college football in particular is that when you get to November, this is when it's time to shine.
Yep.
Okay, this is where the better teams separate themselves from the pack, and so we're going to see some games like that this weekend. Okay, and that's how this works in handicapping too. Is that whatever you've done is what you've done, good or bad, and then you come up to this point. So this is where you set yourself up to end the season strong and go into the bowl game strong, and that's exactly what my intent is coming up, starting this weekend and then going forward. As far I'm not baseball, and not so much talk about baseball with the World Series, stuff like that. I don't have a play on tonight's game. Looking at tomorrow more so than today. But I do for the NFL. I do have a couple of prop bets going on Monday night. So if you happen to see this for Monday night, got a couple of prop bets. I hit 60% of those on either Monday or Thursday night football, and then the NBA 6-2 start. Ross.
That's pretty good, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. So happy as could be with that.
45-19 going back to last year.
Going back to
Yeah. So
I don't have that many plays.
That's outstanding. That is that's terrific. Anyway, go ahead, Doug.
It's been all good with that. And then the other thing, we only talk about this every now and again, but it's coming up the Breeders' Cup is this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay? In fact, the post positions are being drawn today. So after I get done with this video, I'm going to see if that's happened yet and start going to work on that, and excited for that. I'm not a big fan of the Friday because with the younger horses and stuff that run on Friday, don't know enough about it, don't understand that part of it. But for Saturday, I'll have a full card for sure at the Doc's website.
Yeah, one of the best horse handicappers as well that you'll find anywhere is Doug Upstone. And again, folks, you could find all his picks at docsports.com. They've been in business for 51 years now. Longevity speaks volumes in this industry, and 51 years certainly qualifies in that regard. Doug's my favorite over there, but there's a bunch of other very, very good handicappers, Scotty Spreitzer, and I don't want to name anybody else because somebody is going to feel slighted, but the two guys that I know the best is Doug and Scotty, and both of them are fine handicappers. And again, at docsports.com. You can find me at rbwins.com. 29-21 on the year with the NFL. Which is good for 58%. A lot of you would scoff at that, but if you do the math and you go 58% all year long, folks, you're going to make a lot of money. 2-1 Sunday, but sad to report, Doug, I lost my first NFL 10-star top play of the year as I had the LA Rams against San Francisco yesterday. They went down, but still a 2-1 day. And I cashed in with Dallas, and I also cashed in with the Carolina Panthers. What a crazy game that was, Doug.
That was excellent fun to watch that game.
Oh, my. Anyway, I'll take it because we lose some games like that. And, they lost by 3, but they were +4. So, and if you watch the end of that game and into overtime, boy, oh, boy, you got to feel bad for Carolina. They should have won that game. For those of you who didn't see it, 68-yard touchdown pass with about 20 seconds to go that tied the game at 34. How somebody can get open in that situation in the end zone is beyond me, but it happened. And the guy who scored the touchdown, I believe it was DJ Moore, if I'm not mistaken,
Correct.
Took his helmet off in the end zone to celebrate. 15-yard penalty. Extra point try from the 47. Guess what? No good on the extra point. And then overtime, 32-yard field goal. No good. And they end up losing the game, Dougie. So
the first place Atlanta Falcons, by the way.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Yeah,
how about that, huh?
First place, 4-4, and they're one game away from beating their season win total of 4.5.
Yeah. Who would have thought, right? I mean, Seattle Seahawks, another surprise team as well, knocked off the Giants yesterday, much to my chagrin. because I had the Giants as a free pick on this show. But in any event, you can find me at rbwins.com. Like I said, folks, NBA 41-29 dating back to last year. That's a 41-29 run, good for 59%. What am I missing? College football the last 2 weeks, 7-3. Cashed in with my 10-star top play in college football on Saturday on the Louisville Cardinals, plus 3.5 with just Wake Forest. Boy, I never saw a quarter like that in my life. Wake Forest turned the ball over 8 times in the second half, 7 times, Doug, in the third quarter alone.
Yep.
Who would have thought that? Boy, oh boy, nobody. I'd like to look in the record archives to see if that ever occurred. Anyway, I'll take it. And so rbwins.com, folks, docsports.com for Doug. Any final words, Doug, before we go?
Hey, just ready for another big week, Ross. It's, we sit here every Monday, we talk, and it's the same drill every week. But the fact is, you know what? We're in a situation where there's opportunity to make money and to deliver winners. And that's exactly what our job is. And that's what we're looking to do for our customers each and every day.
Thank you, Doug. Always a pleasure, buddy. And for Doug Upstone and Ross Benjamin, we like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care. Good luck and God bless, folks.